factor in capitalism and economy and people having to monetize everything, a lot of their free time that they could use to study is now used for working another 8 hours, working another 12 hours, working overnight, working till exhaustion. And as a result, a lot of young people and older people too have lost a safe space to share ideas, to share thoughts. And then when we try to create an environment where it's a safe place to kick it, as we would say, a safe place where you can listen to music, do things, those places get infiltrated, and then they become another center. Ask ourselves, have we created a hostile environment towards learning and education? We live in a society now where books are being banned. I was thinking about something the other day, and long story short, what I was thinking is, why is it that Anglo-Americans claim European heritage, yet they are often 4 to 10 generations removed from living in Europe? And many people who practice Islam have a closer and a real lived experience of living in Europe from a historical perspective. So from the colonization of Spain and Andalus in 711 to 1492 to even white or Eastern Europeans from Bosnia, Kosovo, Albania, parts of Serbia, Muslims have been part of the local society since the Ottoman times, the 14th century to the 19th centuries. Eastern Europeans and Tatars in Poland, Lithuania, Russia, for hundreds of years. These communities have integrated into the local society, speaking local languages and adopting many cultural norms. In contrast with European Americans, many white Americans who claim European heritage are often 4 to 10 generations removed from Europe. Is it wrong to say that their connection is often symbolic based on ancestry and historical imagination rather than lived experience? So I just find it interesting. I wish that humans could just coexist on the planet, but when you are raised in the Western world, especially the United States, and you hear a lot of the rhetoric, you kind of have to start to ask questions like, why are they saying that? Why do they think this? And then once you go into the history of the Crusades and that type of stuff, you start to realize like, that's why they think like that. That medicine was advanced under the Islamic Golden Age. Religious encouragement for seeking cures, scientific openness, huge libraries and translation projects, strong hospitals, rigorous testing and observation, respect for earlier knowledge. Islam spread medicine throughout Europe through Spain, Sicily, Crusader contact, translations of Arabic medical texts. Islamic medicines became the foundation of European universities, Western medical practices. But none of this is ever talked about. And most Americans have no idea. They had a guy named Al-Zahrawi, father of modern surgery, from Cordoba, Spain, invented 200 plus surgical instruments, performed cataract removal, dental surgery, bone setting, early C-sections. Ibn al-Narif discovered pulmonary circulation of the blood 300 years before William Harvey. Medical schools and training, Islamic medical centers require extensive study, practical training, examination, certifications, and this became the model for European medical universities. Muslim physicians developed pharmacology and herbal medicines, the first pharmacies, new drugs, syrups, distilled alcohol for cleaning wounds, detailed herb manuals. Common treatments include honey, black seed, saffron, turmeric, ola, mint, myrrh. They also advanced chemistry, distillations, extractions of essentials, oil, mental health treatment. They created the first psych wards, therapy, music treatment, baths, drugs, talk-based treatment. They did so much for public health. And if you really want to dig into it, there's research out there, but most Americans just don't notice. And because we came into fruition, a lot of us after 9/11. I think one of the reasons that a lot of young adults um, and people in general are not reading, studying, and sharing what they are learning is because we have to ask ourselves, have we created a hostile environment towards learning and education? Um, we live in a society now where books are being banned. People are prioritizing money, working, and intellectual pursuits are put to the side. We are currently living in an age where, young kids are given electronics, tablets, touchscreen phones, and, you know, it's creating really a generation of illiteracy. So I would ask a question. Do you think that we live in a hostile environment? And when I mean hostile environment, I want you to think about if a person is speaking another language on the street, they might have to fear ICE arresting them. Checkpoints where they're asking you, are you an American? Show me your paperwork, right? And I am an American. But even as an American, I'll be lying if I say that it's not a hostile environment. So when you live in a situation where the environment is hostile, it does make it harder for people to engage in intellectual pursuits. And then when you factor in capitalism and the economy and people having to monetize everything, a lot of their free time that they could use to study is now used for working another 8 hours, working another 12 hours, working overnight, working till exhaustion. And as a result, a lot of young people and older people too have lost a safe space to share ideas, to share thoughts. And then when we try to create an environment where it's a safe place to kick it, as we would say, a safe place where you can listen to music, do things, those places get infiltrated, and then they become another center of chaos. Also, I want to talk about the lack of third places. A lot of places like bookstores, malls, outdoor places, places that you can just go to just kick it. Since we live in such a hostile environment, so many people have retreated into their home. People have retreated into being at home because they don't feel safe outside. I'm in Houston right now. However, I remember a few months ago, in April, I was in Long Beach, California. And one of the things that shocked me was I was like, man, people are just outside kicking it. The weather was nice. You had people listening to music, skateboarding, this and that. I was like, this is how America should be. I remember another place I was in Cincinnati. And it was the same thing. I went to a skateboard park and I seen people just kicking it. So it's pockets of safe places, but then those places get trended upon, like the Lupe Fiasco song Kick Push, about not being able to just skate in peace, not being able to do certain things in peace because is like not a part of polite society, and we're kind of living in a world where everything is becoming a no fun zone. You know, like I said, don't listen to this kind of music, don't read this kind of books, don't congregate with these kind of people. If they are a different race or a different religion than you, stay away from them. So we're living in some different times, guys. Like, and then it affects dating, because a lot of young people, you know, since they are so disconnected, they fear getting close to one another. So tell me what you think. I would love to hear what you think in the comments, but that's just my